Hi, my name is Katie, and today I got to see Evil Dead Burn in theaters. I am a big horror movie fan. I always have been. I likely always will be. I don't intend on changing who I am. Horror is my favorite film genre, bar none. And by far, my favorite franchise to ever come out of the genre, and my favorite franchise to probably come out of film in general, is Evil Dead. Evil Dead is a franchise created by Sam Raimi. A lot of the early movies are directed by him, and most of the current movies are produced by him. He is still very much involved with this franchise. It is kind of like what he is most known for as a director. Evil Dead is supernatural horror. It surrounds these things called deadites as they infiltrate the lives of different people and most recently different families. And it has led to one of the most famous horror characters, one of the most famous film characters of all time, being Ash Williams. A lot of the earliest movies surround him and his face-offs against these deadites and the Evil Dead. More recent movies do not feature Ash Williams as a character as prominently. In fact, Evil Dead Burn is the first movie in the entire 6-movie franchise that does not feature him whatsoever. He had a brief voice clip, I'm pretty sure, in the last movie, Evil Dead Rise, but nothing in this one. There are currently 6 movies in the franchise. The first 3 come from the 80s and the 90s. I don't know if you heard that scratching, but that is my cat, so I'm gonna let her in and she's gonna join me in making this video. Are you dumb? Come up. She's being stupid right now. She's not coming on my bed. Come on. She is the dumbest cat of all time. She's genuinely stupid. She took a second, but she's here. This is my Sue. Big Mama. I love her. She's gonna be with me for the remainder of this video, probably. I don't even remember where I was. Look at her. Look at her. She's too cute to hate. She's too cute to get mad at. Okay, I'm gonna start off where I think I was. Forgive me if I'm, like, repeating. Oh my god. Please don't need my leg. Please don't need my leg. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna continue where I think I was. So there are currently 6 movies in the Evil Dead franchise. The first 3 came out in the 80s and 90s, and the second 3 were a reboot that began in 2013 with the film Evil Dead. A decade later, following Evil Dead, came the release of Evil Dead Rise, which was the first Evil Dead movie that I actually got to see in theaters, which was really exciting. I saw it with my friends, as I did this one as well. Now, if you saw my One Piece live action video, you will know that I actually very much enjoyed Evil Dead Rise, but Evil Dead Burn, a whole different world. I cannot put into words how much I enjoyed this film. It was incredible. No, please don't chew my lights. Please don't chew my, no, please don't do that to my laptop. Please be nice and neat over here. Please be nice and neat over here. Good girl. The rest of this video is going to be a summary of what I witnessed during that movie, because I witnessed a lot in watching that. It was so much that I just cannot not give a summary and an overview of what you are going to expect if you plan on watching this film. So to avoid spoilers and also give my thoughts about the movie, if I had to put it on a scale, I would give it a 9.85 out of 10. It was beautiful in its body horror and gore, and it was artistic in its transitions and its cinematography. Its writing was incredible, and the entire premise was just amazing. I loved this horror movie. It was so good. It was so good. If you're into horror at all, or if you're into film in general and you want to get into horror or body horror stuff like this, I highly recommend you go and watch this movie because you will not regret it. It is so good. That being said, Again, the rest of this video is going to be a summary. I have my notes that I took in the theater because it was literally a 6:30 on a Monday, so I don't really know who else besides me and 3 of my barely employed friends are going to be able to come and see this movie. Okay, so to start off with this summary, we start with an unnamed male looking through a notebook and listening to audio tapes of an old man. He then drops the pen he is using and it falls to the ground and rolls over to the side wall. As he's looking for his pen next to the wall, he notices something inside the wall. This wall is very broken. It is very brittle. It is literally just like planks of wood. Like there's like a few 2x4s of wood that are keeping him from being able to access whatever is inside this wall. He breaks down the wood and brings out like a bag looking thing. It looks like a cloth bag or cloth or something. It is not shown what it is. As soon as he is about to reveal what it is and we can see what it is, it cuts to another very gnarly opening sequence with 2 friends, some fishing line. One of them loses the bottom half of their like entire body. Holy opening. And we are introduced to the initial deadite that is going to begin the havoc on this family. And how this deadite begins this havoc on the family is she leaves from killing these 2 guys who were on a fucking nice little fishing trip in the forest together on a lake. Very scenic, very nice, very pretty. Should have been a chill fucking vacation, but it wasn't. It wasn't. They both end up fucking dying in horrific ways. This deadite walks out into the street and is promptly hit by a red Dodge Challenger. Transition. And this transition is fucking hilarious. This transition, I think, genuinely changed how I view transitions in movie. We cut from this preteen deadite getting hit by a red Dodge Challenger to a woman just throwing ass into the camera. Insane cut, insane palate cleanser. And we are jumped into the introductions of 4 of the 7 main characters in this film. They are at a club. They're celebrating some guy's birthday. This guy is called Joseph. Joseph is the younger brother of the man who owns this bar, Will. Will is married to a French woman named Alice, and him and Alice have a very toxic relationship. Even from the get-go of this sequence, they are already being toxic towards each other. Specifically, Will is being very emotionally and verbally abusive to Alice. He gives his brother a $1,000 pen as a gift for his birthday. It is meant to be a joint gift from him and Alice. But Alice has a gift of her own. She gives Joseph these black and white photos because she is a photographer. And as a way of thanking Alice for these lovely photographs, he goes over and hugs her. Because Alice is French, in France they do this thing called bisous where, they kiss you on both cheeks. It's very iconic. But she goes to do that, and I guess he doesn't realize that she's about to do that. So, he accidentally faces her as she's about to, try and kiss his cheek. Will interprets this as Alice trying to kiss Joseph. And then he blows up on her, causing Alice to get upset and say she's going outside for a cigarette. Very French of her to want to immediately go outside after conflict and smoke a cigarette. Very French of her to want to smoke a cigarette in general. Will initially says he doesn't want to go outside and see Alice, but he ends up doing it anyways. He continues to get incredibly mad at her, increasingly so to the point where he gets into his red Dodge Challenger, drunk as fuck, and we see the title card as he gets into the accident with the deadite. Now, this deadite also explains to him while they are in the car wreck something about wanting something. And this kind of establishes the main motive of what these deadites and these spirits who are going to inhabit this family will be wanting. It also establishes this family as kind of important to the lore of the Evil Dead. Will is the first death in this movie, and it is very much a deserved death. He is already awful when we meet him. He deserves every bit of this and worse, especially when we come to find out that he has been physically and verbally abusive to Alice. The car subsequently goes up in flames, and we see Evil Dead over the burning car. Evil Dead burns specifically. Again, as I mentioned, the cinematography in this is just absolutely incredible. There are so many shots in this that genuinely look like they could be photographs or paintings. It is just amazing. Alice is going to see Will's family after his death. They are meeting up at this funeral home where there is construction going on. We are establishing this construction thing very early on because it comes back at the end of the movie. Will is being cremated as his body is being taken back after the funeral procession to be cremated. His dad, very upset and, distraught with grief, goes to the back to try and say one last final goodbye to his son. The dad's name is Edgar. During this scene where Edgar is saying goodbye to his son, there is a knock. And initially, as any person would, he believes this knock is coming from outside the room. It's coming from outside the door. So he goes and checks, and there's nobody there. And immediately he goes back into the room and hears another knock. And this time he actually realizes it is coming from the coffin. Of course, in his grief, I think any father would do this if they heard knocking coming from inside the casket. He breaks his way into the coffin and has his wrist grabbed by his son's hand. Now, the grabbing of his wrist turns him into a deadite on the down low, as I will be calling him. Also, I don't know why I wrote this in my notes, but I wrote that Edgar is kind of sexy. Old man with a beard. He might be bald, but he's sexy. He's sexy. I'm sorry. They all, as a family, after this funeral, make their way back to this really run-down looking old mansion. It's one of those creepy houses that you absolutely associate with horror movies, and it literally just makes you wonder, why the fuck are you living here? It doesn't even look like you have working Wi-Fi or running water. My cat is snoring. I don't know if you can hear that, but you're gonna have to ignore it. We find out that these tapes played at the beginning by Joseph are of his grandfather. He finds this out because his mom goes on this giant rant and tirade about how awful Joseph's grandfather is. This whole thing about the Evil Dead and these deadites comes from things that Joseph's grandfather was researching, and it's stuff that his mother believed to be cult activity. But she definitely realizes what's going on, as you will see. Everyone in this family fucking sucks. If they were my in-laws, I'd run the opposite direction. They have frozen from fresh discourse at the dinner table, which is what triggers Joseph's dad to not be a deadite on the down low. And he's now actually just a full deadite. He stabs their dog in the face with a fork. He stabs their dog to death with a fork. I say this while my cat is in the room. I feel bad for her for having to listen to this, because I would never do this to my beautiful Sue cat. They do not believe. The mom is in denial at this point, and the family all thinks that there's something deeply wrong with the father, Edgar. So Joseph and his girlfriend rush to take Edgar to the hospital, but before they can even get past this lone road next to the woods in the construction site, he attacks them in the car. Joseph's girlfriend somehow makes a maneuver to get them off the road while also being attacked. She then proceeds to get her fingers chopped off. On an entire hand, she gets 4 fingers cut off, stuck in the door by Joseph's father. She also proceeds to get stabbed in the face and neck, killing her with a car seat headrest by Joseph's father. All the while, Joseph is unable to use the gun that is in the car on his father, which is the reason why his girlfriend is now fucking dead and a deadite. In this time, he manages to climb up onto the roof where he can look down through the sunroof and watch his girlfriend die. Useless fucking character. Useless motherfucker. Is it unethical to fuck a deadite? Edgar's sexy. That's all I'm saying. There is a lore drop explanation for the Deadites and the Evil Dead itself. As I mentioned very briefly when I talked about Susan, the mom, explaining to Joseph about her father's research and how it was all cult-like stuff. This thrown out stuff that Susan got mad and was like tearing to shreds and ended up hiding and throwing in the garbage. Alice finds, and she begins reading off the 4 words that kind of trigger and activate the Evil Dead. It is a very cool summoning, but she stops after 3 out of the 4 words because she is promptly attacked by the dead dog. We get a deadite dog, everyone. We get a deadite dog, everyone. It is so cool, and it features another incredible transition. I cannot explain how good the cinematography is in this. Like, I genuinely cannot say it enough times. Like, it is so good. It is just incredible. I love it's so good. It's so good. You just have to see it to believe it. Trust me. Everyone somehow makes it, like, all the Deadites somehow make it back to the house. Deadite girlfriend makes it back to the house. Deadite dad makes it back to the house. Even the Deadites are perplexed by Susan's mother. I do feel kind of bad for her because she is an old woman and she very obviously is in declining health with Alzheimer's and dementia, which is horrible and scary enough as is to watch a family member go through that. But even the Deadites are absolutely perplexed with this woman. This movie is genuinely uncomfortable to watch at times with the gore and the body horror. Evil Dead Rise, there were not moments in that movie where I genuinely felt so grossed out and disgusted that I could physically feel myself recoiling in my chair. But that happened so many times in this movie, and I'm kind of like happy with that. I kind of wish Evil Dead Rise had more of that. Even when Ellie, the mom in Evil Dead Rise, took a cheese grater to her foot, I laughed. I thought it was very funny. I thought, cheese grater to the foot, that's funny as fuck. In this, the gore is so real, and it's almost like as I was watching I could feel it happening to myself in my body. Like, I was seeing it on the screen and I could feel it happening to myself. It was so real and so visceral. Deadite girlfriend attacks Joseph back at the house. She pushes him onto an open dishwasher full of knives. And she says 2 very important lines during this fighting sequence with Joseph before being killed off by him in a very brutal and gruesome manner that I genuinely, struggled to watch. She says, this first line is very romantic, but she says to Joseph, "I was your first and I'm gonna be your last." So romantic. That's so cute to me. I'm sorry. And then she remarks to him that you could kill your girlfriend, but you couldn't kill your dad. Mind you, his dad was literally murdering his girlfriend in the car, and he couldn't even shoot him with a fucking gun to get him to stop. Very good point from her. Very good point from her. The mom, during all of this, takes Granny up to bed, and we get our first Deadite to die from natural causes. Grandma falls asleep, dies in her sleep peacefully, surrounded by family, quite literally, and comes back as a Deadite. Like, she's literally the first Deadite to die of natural causes. And I think this is finally when Susan realizes what is happening, and her coming to terms with it is less coming to terms with it and more psychosis-esque. She kind of seems to be in denial that it's all happening, and just kind of lets it happen almost. Her husband shows up at the window where she is. She lets him in and just makes out sloppy style with him. Romantic. Wish I was her. Very sexy husband. Sorry. Doing this turns mom Susan into a deadite on the down low, which she promptly becomes not long after she becomes an actual full-on deadite, when Alice locks her in the bathroom after getting stabbed in the ear with that $1,000 pen by deadite Granny. Alice makes her way to the attic because she's the final girl. You could tell from the beginning that she was going to be the final girl, which is kind of one of my downsides about this movie, as well as there's mention of both a restaurant and a club, and I cannot tell if they are the same thing or if they are two different things. And that was also a debate at the dinner table that they have about if Alice was going to keep the restaurant up and running. He has a club. Like, as far as I know, like, he has a club. He does not have a restaurant. Where'd the restaurant come from? I don't know if these are the same thing or two different things. That's a continuity issue that I'm still confused about. Again, I also don't like how easy it is to tell who the final girl is going to be in all of this. I think that's just a little bit lazy. I would like to have more questioning as I'm watching. I would like to have more tension. I would not like to know, oh, all of these people are going to become deadites, but this final girl is going to be the one who lives. During the bathroom scene with Alice and deadite Susan, Alice tells Susan that her entire family deserves what's happening to them. And she's correct. She is absolutely right. They honestly deserve worse, quite frankly. This is literally a movie about having crazy in-laws. Because even though the family, all of them get turned into deadites, they don't even turn their focus to getting Alice to become one of them. They don't even turn their focus to Alice trying to complete their goal on their behalf. They turn on each other. They are so toxic that even as deadites, they turn on each other. They are fighting one another. They're not fighting Alice. Sorry, I had to let my Sue out. She's gone. She didn't want to hear the rest of the summary of this movie, which is kind of sad. All that about the final girl stuff being said, Alice is probably my favorite final girl. She is so tenacious, and she perseveres, and she genuinely puts up with shit that the last final girl in Evil Dead Rise didn't even have to put up with. I do not know how she survived. And at the end of the movie, she smokes one final cigarette in the back of an ambulance as a fuck you to her ex-husband Will and his crazy fucking family who deserved their fucking fate. Rest in peace to Joseph's girlfriend, though. She didn't deserve all that. There's 2 post-credit scenes, though. One of them has the grandma, and it's kind of just a humorous post-credit scene. But the second post-credit scene is more in-depth and has more story to it. And the second post-credit scene goes back to the crematorium and the funeral home where Will was cremated. And we see the funeral director bringing her daughter in to work with her. She is explaining to her daughter about the urns that have been left behind and not picked up by family members. And they're just kind of sitting there, and she's asking questions before someone rings the front desk and she has to leave her daughter. Her daughter is left behind with all the urns, and she begins looking at the different names on the urns. And she goes by one named Ellie. Ellie is the name of the mom in Evil Dead Rise. I think I already mentioned that, but that's her name. She was the main deadite in that movie. She was incredible. She was an incredible deadite. Just an incredible performance by Alyssa Sutherland all around. Evil Dead Rise is also a great movie. Go watch that too. Ellie shows up in this mirror, and she doesn't look like a deadite. She looks like Ellie. She just looks like a normal mom. She looks like a normal woman. Daughter touches the mirror, and it goes back to normal. She sees her own reflection now. But behind her is deadite Ellie, who then proceeds to kill the little girl, genuinely rips her head off of her fucking neck. This is all shown, by the way. And then she turns and she says, "Mommy's back," or something like that, which crazy thing to end on. Mommy's back? I'm absolutely getting that quote wrong, but it was something along those lines, and it was crazy. It was insane. Insane. Another insane thing about this is, why the fuck is Ellie back? Because her and her 2 kids at the end of Evil Dead Rise got put in a fucking wood chipper. They did not fucking survive that. They did not survive that. Why is she here? Why is Ellie here? I loved Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, but why is she back? She's dead. She is dead. The Evil Dead did not rise with her. She's gone. She's in a fucking wood chipper. Okay, that is the summary of the movie. Again, it was just a lot of fun. I don't know why I'm saying that. I genuinely recooled in my seat. I don't know why I'm saying it's fun, but it was fun. It was fun. It was good to see it with my friends. I think it is one of the best body horror and supernatural horror movies of the 21st century. It is just absolutely incredible. I absolutely loved it. And if you have not seen it, you absolutely should. I have enjoyed making these kind of rant videos. I don't know who actually is really interested in this sort of content, but I like making it. So if you are, keep watching. I'll be making more of these as the Odyssey and Avengers Doomsday comes out. Those won't be so much positive reviews as they will be me complaining. Anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy this kind of sort of video, because I plan on doing a lot more of these. But yeah, follow me on Twitter if you don't, at foam__soap. I will see you in my next video, probably on the Odyssey. Okay, bye!